Welcome to After the Bell. I am your host, Lauren Kramer, and today we're talking about Verzenio. We're talking about treatment for breast cancer that I experienced and I am completed with. And I want to just give my experience for those people who may start it soon, wanted to learn some more information, and kind of get a realistic perspective of what it's like to be on this drug. Because we all are interested in what happens when we start new medications, new lines of treatment. And I really just want to put this out there because most of us going through cancer, going through treatment, we want to research the living F out of everything. We want to know what it's going to be like. We don't want any surprises. So a lot of us end up on things like Google and Facebook and looking at Facebook groups, right? Now, when you Google Verzenio or you Google or you go to Facebook and you find groups regarding Verzenio, you can find the most terrifying things ever in regards to side effects. And it's everybody. If you're on a Facebook group, I warn you to just take everything with a grain of salt. Most of the time, people who are online talking about their experience, it's mostly a negative one. They're not going to, if everything's all fine and dandy, they're not going to come here and say, "Hey, just wanted to let you know everything's good." It's not quite that simple. So you're going to get a lot of negative things when you look on Facebook or the internet about experiences for the most part. And this is why I wanted to make this video, is because my experience wasn't as crazy terrible as the things that I've seen online. And I will be honest with you, I didn't want to take Verzenio. It was kind of popped up on me. I didn't realize it was going to be a part of my treatment plan toward the end. So I was kind of bitter at the fact that I had more things to do. And I would just hearing about the side effects and reading the pamphlet, it sounded like chemo to me. And I was like, I don't want to feel like crap for another 2 years. And I know this is also a treatment for metastatic breast cancer. And in October of 2021, it was FDA approved for high risk cancer patients, or I'm sorry, high risk patients that have they're more likely to have a recurrence. Now, that approval just means that your insurance is more likely to cover it. But just to kind of bring it backwards a little bit, Verzenio is a CDK4 and 6 inhibitor. It is something you use in conjunction with hormone positive cancer therapy. And I was stage 3A. I was hormone positive, HER2 negative, and I went through all the things. I also had PALB2 genetic mutation. I went through cancer while I was pregnant, so I had 2 separate mastectomies because of that. I went through 16 rounds of chemo, AC and adriamycin, Cytoxan, and Taxol. And then I started hormonal therapy. So I started Zoladex to put my ovaries to sleep, putting me in a menopause. And then I started an aromatase inhibitor, all while going through radiation treatment. I had 28 sessions. And then once all that was done, I started Verzenio. Now, I started Verzenio in April of 2022. It is June of 2024. So I recently just finished, and there's a lot to unpack because we all feel different after cancer. We are not ourselves physically, mentally, even with our health. It's not like we just bounce back after cancer. So after radiation, when I started Verzenio, I wasn't feeling myself as it was. So the baseline prior to Verzenio was altered. From the start of Verzenio to now, lots for me have changed, but nothing was drastic. So there's a lot of experiences for people that they have really horrible GI disturbances and they have massive diarrhea and they can't leave the house and they need Imodium if they do leave the house, and they just feel ill all the time, rashes. There's a lot of negative, scary side effects. Now, I didn't have really any of those drastic symptoms. My stomach definitely was different. My bathroom habits definitely changed, but it wasn't anything like what I was hearing on the internet. There was no like massive circumstances, and I didn't have to take Imodium when I left the house. It was pretty tolerable. So my point is I didn't have anything that stuck out to me that made me really scared to continue it for 2 years. Now, I started off at 150 milligrams twice a day. At 9 months, I went down to 100 milligrams twice a day. And the reason was because I was feeling fatigued. And my doctor and I decided we'd do a little test. I stopped Verzenio for about a month, I think it was. And if I started to feel a little better, then I would drop the dose. And it seemed like that was the case. So we dropped the dose. And I want to say that my fatigue got a little bit better. It wasn't the best. I've struggled with it pretty much since I went through cancer treatment, ebbed and flowed, especially just going through everything while pregnant and then dealing with 2 young children. It's tiring. You're tired generally as a mom like that. So, again, the whole baseline thing, I don't know what's what. Some people are really good at like equating how they feel to specific things and specific drugs they're taking. That's not how I am. I don't know what is causing what most of the time. If I had to complain about anything over the past 2 years while I was on Verzenio, there's 2 things, and it would be gaining weight and fatigue. Now, do I think gaining weight was from Verzenio? No, because I also was thrown into a deep chemical menopause. So it's hard to exactly know what's what. I felt, my nails were brittle. Which they never really were great throughout the years anyway. My hair actually was fine. I know a lot of women worry about hair loss, and I didn't recall any hair loss while I was on Verzenio. But the kicker is I stopped Verzenio in April, a few months ago, and I've been having a lot of hair loss, and not where I'm bald, but it's I run my hand through my hair, and I get massive amounts of strands coming out all the time. Shower, it's everywhere. I'm not really sure exactly what the deal is with that, but I didn't have any bad experiences while I was taking Verzenio, but now it seems the hair is coming out a little bit. In regards to my energy and fatigue, I felt fatigued. There's sometimes during the day I would crash. At the end of the day, I'd be really exhausted, but that doesn't mean I wasn't able to do things. I still was able to work out. I still was able to, go to events. And not that I was going to many events, but I would still do things. It's not that I was so tired where I couldn't even accomplish things. I would definitely accomplish things. I would probably be extra worn out when I was done with them, but I would still do them. And again, working out, I was able to run. I ran my farthest I've ever run while I was on Verzenio. My point is I think that's something that's important to note because, I want people to realize that this doesn't have to be scary. You just have to kind of adapt a little bit and accommodate how we feel and make it through. I'm still kind of feeling it out, how I'm feeling after Verzenio. I think it'll take quite a bit to kind of readjust a little bit. While I was on Verzenio, I was also diagnosed with Crohn's, and that sounds a little confusing because I was just saying that I wasn't really having any crazy stomach issues. The only thing that I guess could equate to Crohn's was bloating, but I don't know, I just thought that was from Verzenio because it wasn't that severe. It was just, I don't know, like normal bloating. I don't know. It wasn't anything that I was worried about, I guess, but I went in for a colonoscopy. I'm 35 years old, and I went in for a colonoscopy because my mother had colon cancer. So I was doing this out of precaution. And then bing bam boom, she told me I had Crohn's. I questioned it. I still question it. I'm not on any medication for Crohn's. I don't feel like I need it because I feel fine in that realm. And I was so curious if it was the Verzenio that kind of ignited that, or at least, I don't know. I just have a lot of questions about that. I'm still kind of figuring it out. I'm not saying I don't have Crohn's. I just have a lot of questions about it because of how it came up. I had a lot of tests done. I did a GI map, which is like a stool test. I did a lot of blood work, that kind of to kind of get like a grasp on what was going on with my body. And I definitely had a lot of things that needed to be replenished. And I'm working on that now. Currently, I am doing my best to support my body with all the vitamins and minerals that it needs. Something that I actually offer myself. It's called hair tissue mineral analysis. It's pretty amazing. It measures basically at a cellular level how much minerals are in your body and the ratios and comparisons. And ultimately, you use lifestyle and diet approach and supplementation to potentially kind of get back to a healthy state. It could tell you about blood sugar. It could tell you about your thyroid, your adrenals, your hormones, your stress levels. It's pretty amazing. And this isn't me trying to like sell it or anything, but I did it for myself because I want to heal. I wanted to heal before I took Verzenio, and now that I'm done with Verzenio, I really want to heal. But my point is that I had a decent experience on Verzenio. I definitely feel different from when I started Verzenio, my body, how I guess I feel, but there's so many different factors at play in terms of the chemical menopause I'm in terms of just like in terms of just recovering from being postpartum. I'm a different person. It's hard to exactly put my finger on it, but my point is, you could do this. It is something you could adapt to. If you have side effects, you talk to your doctor about it. Doses can be adjusted. You don't have to stay at 150 milligrams twice a day in order for it to be effective. There's data on it. You could look at the data, and it's comforting because there is really good information out there in regards to the benefits of doing this. Like I said, I lived a great life the last 2 years with my family, doing things that I love. All the things that I wanted to do, I was able to do. And I think that's the most important thing. And that is the takeaway from this. I just want to remind you that while we want to research and find information so we feel better about this, just keep in mind that everybody's experience is very different, and try to stay away from all the negative, because all that's going to do is keep you in a space mentally that you shouldn't be in, that you don't want to be in. You want to do everything that's possible to feel your best, especially starting a new medication, and the mental aspect of it is very important. You don't want to be in such a negative space when you're starting something new, because if things start to happen and side effects happen, it's just going to spiral. And we just need to let go a little bit and remember that we're badasses and we can do this. I feel like I'm ranting. So ultimately, my experience was not that bad with Verzenio. Yes, things might have changed. Yes, there's things I had to adapt to, and it really wasn't in terms of the fatigue, but it was doable, and you can do it. You could absolutely do it, and you just have to communicate with your doctor. You have to pay attention to how you feel and address it. And it doesn't have to be what all the people online are saying. It doesn't have to be that way. You can do this. There's options, and it is doable, and you can do it. You got this. And if you have any questions about my experience or want to just talk about it, I am here. I always leave my email if you want to reach out. And other than that, best of luck. You will get through this next step. And once you finish and close the door on Verzenio, if you're able to do that, because I know some people do have to continue taking it until it doesn't work anymore, you could do it. You could do it. And I wish you the best of luck. And I really appreciate any feedback. So always comment below or reach out. And thank you so much for listening. I will see you in the next one.